In the past few months, there has been a lot of hype and a lot of activity around AI, where many people and many different industries are starting to realize that AI is a power that is going to be here for a very long time, that it can totally transform the way we live, the way we work, and the way we associate with others. But my question is for all the talk out there and for all of the different hype about AI technologies, including GPT, visual recognition, creation of text, and creation of images and video, then how much resources and how many different industries are actually adopting it at a credible rate? And so I found some data from Statistics Canada that brings to light what I was wondering about implementation of technologies across the board. What Statistics Canada does is they send out a survey to a series of different organizations and firms across many different industries in order to understand what technologies they're going to implement in the next 12 months. And so this survey was done and was posted in late 2022, and so in December 2022, asking what technologies do you plan to implement in this coming year or in the next 12 months. And so the analysis that I'm showing you is actual resources being put forth this year when it comes to technology. And so let's get started. I'm excited about this analysis. One of the things to realize is that when it comes to any technology, it relies on a mix of technologies in order to have a successful company. And so you can't start with AI if you don't really have an understanding of, let's say, cloud computing or anything related to that. It's really hard to jump at the top of the list without having a good foundation below. And so to give you a better understanding, within healthcare, this is the mix of technologies that they are investing in this year. And so as you can tell, cloud computing, collaboration tools, and security software is at the top of the list. What this means is that many other industries may have already adopted these, but these are the big technologies that healthcare in Canada is still working to adopt. And so cloud computing being at the top of the list, where 11.7% of firms are adopting cloud computing this year or implementing cloud computing. The same for security software, where 10.8% of firms within healthcare are going to implement security software. And then collaboration tools is at the top of the list as well. And the reason probably why is because cloud computing has to deal with medical records and digital medical records. Security has to do with securing those medical records. And then collaboration tools, I would bet that this has to do with trying to improve efficiencies through better collaboration. And so if you have better systems for collaboration, then you're more likely to get more things done in a clinic or in a hospital setting. But AI and artificial intelligence as at the low end, at least number 4 when it comes to healthcare. So you can see that this breakdown here is the same as this. It just compares them all together. And so as you can tell, cloud computing, security software, and collaboration tools are the top 3. And then it drops down to AI, where nearly 4% of firms are adopting AI. The same for automation, database work, and down the road it goes. So I also wanted to know, okay, that's fair. I can understand that you can have a mix a mix of technologies by different industries, but I also wanted to know how AI measured up when it comes to different investments by industry. And so what I found out was quite interesting is that healthcare and social assistance is at the low end of the totem pole, where for some industries, they're investing much more in AI than others. And so information and cultural industries, professional, scientific, and technical services, and finance and insurance are at the top of the list when it comes to implementing AI. At the bottom of the list is transportation, agriculture, healthcare, and then food services. So these guys, less than, let's say, 5.5% of firms are investing in AI today. And so if you see a lot of talk about AI and AI implementation in healthcare, I would say that's not necessarily false that they're implementing it, but the resources being put forth today are not quite AI related. Because if you look at, let's say, a budget year, the budget year, let's say, finalizes, let's say, at the end of last year. And so resources are being put forth when it comes to these big three technologies. And AI is really just an afterthought, at least for the current year. So this kind of is insightful to me because there are industries that are more on the leading edge than others, and these industries that aren't, there are many different reasons why. But I would say that, let's say, transportation and warehousing isn't necessarily implementing AI because it may not be as useful as, let's say, something in finance and insurance, where finance and insurance for, let's say, a decade or two has been using AI type models, like, let's say, advanced machine learning for the longest time. And so it depends on how you categorize AI, because if you say that you have advanced machine learning and you clump that together with AI, then obviously finance and insurance has been implementing AI to where something like, let's say, agriculture, well, you're tilling a field, how can AI be used in that circumstance? The other thing I wanted to know was, what's the mix by industry? Like, I can tell a comparison of AI implementation by industry, but what's the mix, and does the mix matter of different technology implementations by industry? And so here's the mix for healthcare, and it's pretty much the mix that we showed you. When it comes to real estate, the mix is a little bit different, where you have security, software, cloud computing, and collaboration at the top, but then you have software and database work, number 4, and then you have AI. And so there's a different mix here than healthcare. And the reason why is because probably there's a lot of database work and software work that is more incumbent on the success of real estate than, let's say, healthcare or other industries. And manufacturing shows this in a different light, to where security, software, and cloud computing is still up there, but then automation is in the top 3. And then collaboration tools, and then AI after that. And so, as you can tell, there are many more industries that are investing in automation, cloud computing, and security software within manufacturing. And it makes sense, right? Because if you're working in manufacturing, then automation is surely going to be at the top of your list. And AI is not going to be as interesting because it doesn't necessarily benefit you at this point in time. I also wanted to know, in comparison, of what industries are generally investing in technology as a whole. And so, as you can tell, finance and insurance, manufacturing, and wholesale and retail are implementing technology almost every year. And so, for example, for wholesale, about 75% of firms are implementing some kind of technology. Finance and insurance and manufacturing, I'd say 80 to 85% of firms are implementing some kind of technology. And so if you are in those industries and you're not implementing technology, then you're going to fall behind very quickly. In comparison to, let's say, construction, like only 35, let's say, like 30 to 35% of firms are implementing technology. And so you can get along quite well without any technology implementations in construction. The same for transportation, agriculture, and more or less healthcare, to where there are a lot of companies sitting on the sidelines and saying, no thanks, I'm good with the technologies I have now. And when it comes to, let's say, healthcare, it takes a lot of, let's say, going through different hurdles to implement technologies that actually make a difference. And so for healthcare, the question is how will AI really affect healthcare, and what regulatory requirements need to be set in order for a full implementation of AI? There are just many questions when it comes to different technologies, and so we're at the starting point for talking about how to implement AI. And there are many other technologies that are already needing investment now that aren't getting as much attention, like cloud computing, for example, like collaboration tools, etc. And so I hope this helps you get a better understanding of where industries fall and what industries are at the further end of the curve than others. And naturally, healthcare falls near the end, and there are many reasons for that, which I could get into in another video and or podcast. Now, the third thing I just wanted to see was just visually where are investments being put forth by different industries. And so as you can see, like I've said before, cloud computing is still up there. Collaboration tools are still up there as far as implementation and resources being put forth towards implementation. But AI, although information and cultural industries and professional industries are still investing in AI, it's still not as great as cloud computing. And so there's still a lot more resources being put forth towards cloud computing where it doesn't necessarily get as much hype, and all the hype is going towards AI, but the resources aren't being put forth towards AI, at least now. Maybe the thought is that if there's as much hype, then more and more resources will be put into AI, which I think is kind of the case. But as you can see, let's say in different news that has come out, NVIDIA is putting forth, let's say, a lot of talk towards what they're doing with AI, and their valuation in the stock market is through the roof because of talking about AI. And so many Fortune 500 companies are talking about how they're putting forth energy towards AI, and the stock is going through the roof. But what it reminds me of is this is just another version of the dot-com bubble, to where you will have many firms talking about AI and what they're going to implement, but there reaches a point to where it's unsustainable and it has to come back down to reality. And so let's say if you're a company like Amazon that started with all the dot-com companies, it's going to go up in that same trajectory, but it may come down, but the real smooth growth and the real implementation really won't take place until, let's say, 2, 3, 5 years afterwards, when the crash comes and the wheat is sorted from the chaff. Meaning that there are companies that are just talking about AI, but it's not really providing meaningful results. Whereas others are slowly implementing AI with the understanding that this is going to pay off in 5, 10 years. You see, there's a different mentality here. Some people are just chasing the hype, and others are saying, well, this is interesting. Let's explore this in a way that's going to benefit us in the next 5, 10 years. And so there's a long game here that many people aren't playing when it comes to AI. And so the organizations that are playing the long game, I would say, are implementing or shoring up their technologies when it comes to cloud computing, etc. That's my analysis in total. So if you have any questions, I'll leave a link below to our website that has the full analysis and a description of our analysis, as well as the data source from Statistics Canada. So thanks for watching. I hope this was insightful to you as it was for me.